Hello, good afternoon, and welcome back to Gooner Gathering. This is going to be a bit different, I think. I am Gooner Lee Meads, and I'm joined by Posh Bertie, who for some reason's over there. Hello, how are you, Posh?
Hello, I'm good. As you can see here, it's calls for a celebration after recent news. I've got a lovely bowl of rice. It's barbecue flavored as well. So I'm going extra spicy today. How are you?
Do you know what, my friend? I am doing excellently well. I've had a early start to my day. I've been up since about 4:30 this morning, and I couldn't be fresher.
Excellent.
So we are also joined by a debutante. Hello there to, am I right in saying, Gunned Down podcast on YouTube?
Yeah, well, the original term was Carl from KB Sports, but now the channel has been completely revamped. So yeah, it's now all dedicated basically to Arsenal Football Club now. All one team, one sport, and that's all it needs doing to it. So, but no, thank you very much for having me on, Lee. Much appreciated. And obviously with Bertie as well. He was on my channel literally an hour or so ago.
Yeah.
Talking about the rice and the timber. So we're basically going to be waxing lyrical going through this one. But no, big up to you guys. Much appreciated.
And we appreciate you very much being here. So let's track back a little bit, shall we? Let's go back a few weeks ago when my broadcast colleague and my good friend Posh Bertie, let me see, how was the wording? How did it go?
Which video are you talking about?
Well, what I'm talking about, funny enough, is Declan Rice. And when a certain wise man might have said to you, do you know what? I don't think Declan Rice wants to leave London, and I'd be very surprised if this one won't go through. And I think you might have said to me on something along the lines of, we'll come about a week down the line and we'll be saying, Declan Rice, here we go to Manchester City.
Well, we've just been so used to getting screwed over, Arsenal Football Club, all the time.
The Arsenal screw job.
When a bit, yeah, but when you know we put in the first bid and they said, "Oh, Man City are lurking," I thought, yeah, this is what's going to happen, isn't it? In typical Arsenal fashion, we get so excited about signing our main target, and then suddenly, oh, he's at another club, and let's go for some other guy instead. But this time it's different, and I am very happy to say that I was wrong on this occasion, and I'm pleased that we have Declan Rice, as we can see here. I'm eating food in celebration. Shamelessly. It's brilliant.
Absolutely. It's almost like you're eating your words right in front of us.
I am, yes. Very much so.
I also, before we get much further down the line, I do want to give a massive shout out to my brother who, on the other side of the world in Australia, in the very small hours of this morning, got in touch with me and was very kind enough to do a quick video for us and announced the overnight news that the paperwork had been completed. I need to take that banner down, don't I? but there you go. Right, we're professional, honestly. So, Carl, were your thoughts the same as Posh Bertie in terms of with Declan Rice? Was it ever in? This is my catchphrase. Was it ever in doubt in you?
All I'm going to say is what's under my name. It took this team long enough. 7 months. It's been going on for. I was getting a bit agitated with it for about the last couple of months of it, thinking, why is this taking so long? They're pussyfooting around. They're putting 75 million in with 5 million in add-ons. And then they were trying to restructure it again, which was pretty much the same offer as the first. Then when Man City come calling, I'm like, oh God, here we go again. It's going to be same old song and dance. We're stuck in this perennial hamster wheel again. But the moment I saw that City's bid got turned down and then they pulled out of it, that was when I knew Declan Rice was only going one way. He was coming to Arsenal. The question was, though, how long was it going to take? Are we going to see him before pre-season, or was it going to go right up to deadline day? And that would have pissed me off even more because obviously, we would have been 3 or 4 games into the season. It just wouldn't have made any sense whatsoever. So, look, I've said from day one, after the season ended, I wanted Declan Rice. I wanted Moises Caicedo. Looks like we're only going to get one of them. But Rice was the main target that I wanted after. We needed more bolstering in the midfield. And we are not just getting a player who, at the age of 24, it fits Project Youth in some sort of way. But his leadership and his durability on the ball when he plays in midfield is probably one of the best in Europe, considering he's still at a very, very young age. And when I say leadership, he captained West Ham to a European trophy, so if anybody knows how to lead a team, that's Declan Rice. So Martin Odegaard will need to pick himself up for this coming season. But yeah, for Declan Rice to come to Arsenal was absolutely fantastic. We needed him to come to Arsenal. The only thing I just hope for is that we don't lose Thomas Partey in the process. So I really, really don't.
That's a really interesting point for debate, isn't it? There is a ton of speculation in terms of Thomas Partey's future, but you'd prefer Partey to play alongside Rice, or how do you see it working in your view?
If we play our formation like we usually have, which is a 4-3-3, you're looking at a midfielder of Rice, Partey, and Odegaard. But say if you was to go up against something like a Man City, or we had one of the tougher teams in the Champions League in the group stages, and you want to try a little bit more defensively sound, you may play a 4-2-3-1 and use Partey and Rice as a double pivot.
Yeah, absolutely. Posh, are you able to talk?
Yes, I am. You guys don't really want to hear me eat. It's not very pleasant. But yeah.
But I do want to get you involved here because
that's fine.
Do you see Partey staying with Arsenal, or do you think with Declan signing, does it mean it might be Partey heading out the door?
It's a bit up in the air, really, because we see all this talk about is Partey being linked with move to Saudi Arabia. I don't know, but I think he would probably be. I think he's more likely, if he stays, is going to probably be a backup option. I think Partey and Rice together might be a good, an interesting shout. Obviously, with Rice playing in the role that Xhaka used to be, the box-to-box role. But I think if he does stay, he's not going to get as many minutes as he did last season. I think Arteta will probably see him as more of a backup, especially as he's in his 30s now, and that's when you start to, I don't know, maybe slowly fizzling him out of the squad. I don't know, but
slowly degenerate. You mean? Oh, degenerate.
It'll be good. It'll be good to see him as part of the squad next season, definitely. But maybe I just don't see him playing as much as he used to, with Rice coming in.
A big welcome to Arsenal Forever, who's back in the chat again. This is what Arsenal Forever is saying. This is what West Ham are getting from Arsenal for Rice. £100 million paid over 2 years, plus possibility of £5 million of add-ons, which are £1 million every time Arsenal qualify for the Champions League, and Rice starts 60% of them games. Well, I think there's a fair chance that Declan will start in our midfield. I'm pretty sure he's going to boss our midfield, and he's going to glorify that number 41 shirt, which is, rich with Arsenal history, as you all know.
Yeah, I don't really.
I am a bit tongue in cheek there, boys. By the way,
but I just, but yeah, I'm just pleased he's here. At the end of the day, he's a number one target, and we actually got him. So
it's not just him, Posh, is it? Though I mean, can you believe it? 2 targets over the line in 24 hours. Can you believe it?
I know. Is this Arsenal we're talking about? Like,
I know.
it's
Sounds like we're acting like a big club for once.
I know, it's great to see, and we need to. When we want to try and challenge for the title again and want to try and win trophies, as Declan Rice was saying, you've got to act like a big
In
club.
that interview, it's really good, wasn't it? I think he came across
He said the
as
right
an
things.
absolutely solid pro. He's got absolutely the right mentality. He knows what it's all about. And as Arsenal forever again says, Rice is a very good signing, but we still need a striker. I hope someone might say that. We'll come to the striker bit in a bit because I kind of brought up Timber just a moment ago. I think it's probably fair to say that between us all, we've not seen a lot of Timber play. Would I be right, gentlemen?
Yeah.
Cole?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. If I told you I watched Ajax every week, I'd also say I've seen Elvis Presley.
Well, I'll be all shook up by that. I can tell you that much. But Carl, if you're new to our channel, mate, you know.
I know.
You know my deal, right?
Yes. Yes. I'm not in the mud already. Don't.
Cool. So my understanding is that Arsenal made a big deal in the press conference thing yesterday, in the press releases certainly, that they are bringing Timber in, looking to play the right-hand side of defence, right back, or whatever that position's now called. How many times, gentlemen, do you think is it Julian Timber? Something like that. Julian Timber played right back last season for Ajax. Have a little guess between you all. Hello, Arsenal Manic. In the chat.
I can't really tell you because I like as Carl said, I haven't watched Ajax games. But
here's
I know
a fun fact for you, gentlemen. Played once at right back last season. It was in an international game against France, and they lost 4-0.
Yeah, but he's not facing Kylian Mbappe twice a season, so you know.
Well, he's going to be Mbappe's teammate, as you know. So, and
wait, he's going to Real Madrid in a few years' time. Timber.
Arsenal Manic knew exactly where I was going to go. So, what happens? Tomiyasu or Ben White? Where will they play? Will they be there next season?
Ben White will start. I think Ben White is since he came to us and since he got moved to right back last year. I personally think he's now solidified that right back role. For me personally, I think Ben White he's done really, really well last season. There were times where he did get dusted. I won't lie, but there were games where he actually looked really, really good. And he does overlap Saka from time to time. Not all the time, but from time to time he does. And that does help him in a way. The Tomiyasu, he can't stay healthy. There's a reason why he's called Tommy Glassu, to say the least.
2 game Tommy.
He can't stay healthy. He's been injured more times than Zinchenko has. So I don't know. I just think, apart from Tomiyasu with his height, I don't know what he brings. I really don't. And if Timber's taking over that right back role and challenging Ben White, I don't know where that leaves Tomiyasu. I really don't.
I much rather prefer Tomiyasu over Cedric, though. Any day of the week.
Well, I think everyone would.
I think I'd prefer the neighbour next door I don't even speak to than play Cedric. But I get your point. Look, Cedric did a job for us for a short while, but much in the cases that your discussion a little while ago on your channel, Cole, we're talking about Rob Holding as well. I feel that Holding and Cedric are very old school defenders, and the game is moving on. a little bit. And the idea of, okay, you play centre half, you play right back, you play left back. It's very difficult for a very old man like myself to work out. But I think you said it best on your stream, Cole, where you said that the modern day game is changing and people being able to adapt to different positions. Personally, I think that Ben is a fantastic right back, or we'll call him a modern day defender in the defensive mind of it. With Ben, you can allow perhaps for us Arsenal to slip into a back three if you have Zinchenko or whoever you want bombing up the other side, ending up in midfield. And it's very difficult for an old man like me to understand. But you kind of get, I've kind of accepted, I said this to you the other day, Posh, didn't I? That the game's moved on. You look how Manchester City ended the season with playing basically 3 defenders only, playing about 6 midfielders and whatever else they want to play up front. The game's moved a lot further along from playing a simple 4-4-2, isn't it?
Yeah,
Either of you.
Yeah, it legitimately has. Look, Rob Holding came in when he first came onto the scene at Arsenal. He was another one of these youth projects that came through under Wenger's wing. Yeah. He had some good games. I was like, he continues this sort of progression, and maybe he could possibly be, I don't know, maybe the next Tony Adams, possibly. I mean, this was hindsight is a wonderful thing, right?
Yeah.
But he's either injured or he's had so many duff performances that you could fill the Grand Canyon with it. There hasn't been times where he's been caught out, where he's lost his man, where he's just not tracked back on his runs. As the game goes on throughout the years, new ways of how to attack a defense is adapted and is evolved. And defenders either understand that and they learn a new way of defending to stop that, or they stick to what they know. And if you stick to what you know, then you better be prepared. You're in a league or you're in a certain time frame where you can still utilize that. In 2023, right now, the simple stand of a bog standard defender doesn't work unless you are sitting 11 men behind the ball, Manchester City, and all you can then do is put a low block in front of them. That is all you can do right now. This is where the likes of teams are playing out from the back more and more and more often now, because it's not all Keyword just bombing it halfway up the box and hopefully the striker gets a header onto it so he can laze it up to get the pass through the midfield now. It's all played out from the back now, and you've got to be adapted to this. Rob Holding has been, he's had his time at Arsenal. I think, I wish him all the best if he does end up leaving, because we turned down a €2.5 million bid from Besiktas. I mean, I'd have simply paid for his flight to go over there. But, you have to move with the times. And Timber is an upgrade. Timber is a huge upgrade over Rob Holding. He is an upgrade over Tommy Asu. He is an upgrade over Sambi Lakonga. There's 3 positions there I've just named there where he's actually played and he has got the upgrade from.
I agree. Dare I ask, Posh Bertie? I think I know where you're going to go with this one. So how much do you think Rob Holding's worth?
I did a tweet. Well, someone tweeted, how much is Rob Holding worth? And I put £2.50 in a packet of Frazzles. And that was just me being really, really generous, to be honest. Rob Holding he's had his time at Arsenal. I think it's the right time for him to move on. Much like Xhaka, I think they've spent, it's the right time for them to go. And the way Holding plays as a defender does not suit our system. We need players that can run, and Holding can't do that. So I reckon he should definitely be sold.
And in all fairness to Rob Holding as well, for his generation, if you kind of also alluded this a little bit earlier on, Cole, if you're looking back to past centre backs gone by, it would have been, Arsenal centre-backs wouldn't necessarily, of generations gone by, been the most graceful in the football. I mean, Tony Adams, for example, was a terrific defender, but he was never asked to play the ball out until Arsene Wenger joined.
No,
I mean,
he was just,
never.
yeah, he was just simply there. He was just simply there to just defend, head the ball out, and kick the living shit out of people. Because back in those days, you can leave something on a striker, and the referee won't even bat an eyelid on it. That's how changed at the times we are now.
Apologies for any younger viewers watching.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. We'll let one slide. It's fine. But I mean, you wouldn't have seen Martin Keown spray a crossfield ball across. I mean, David Luiz might have done it, but then what was he like as a defender?
He's called Sideshow Bob for a reason. He's a Jekyll and Hyde. He was a Jekyll and Hyde sort of defender. When he's on his game, he's one of the best in the world. But when he has a stinker, it's a detriment to the team.
Fair enough. Well, look, we'll see how that one pans out. How about we'll jump into the comments and answer Arsenal Maniac's comment here. So we've basically covered right back and centre half. So what about at left back? Who's our first choice left back? Zinchenko can't defend for love nor money, or Kieran Tierney's injury prone and out of favour with the manager. So let's you're forgetting Kiwa as well, of course, who played at left back in Germany the other day against Nuremberg. KT was on the substitutes bench that day. Gentlemen, where would you like to go?
Or there could potentially be a change of formation. There has been rumour and innuendo. I've said this about we could potentially be switching to a back three, similar to how Man City did. Potentially, there was talk of if Tierney's staying with us, he could potentially be one of the three defenders in that back three, either him or Timber. You got that information from somewhere, and I think we don't want to be too predictable this season. So I think switching to a back three, and if Partey does leave, put in Zinchenko in midfield with Rice, because let's be honest, Zinchenko's more of a midfielder than a defender. This could, I came up with this. This could potentially be our lineup next season, potentially. So yeah.
Would you like me to go through it with you?
Okay.
So,
although to be honest, we can't see Carl's face, which is
don't
the
worry,
issue.
But don't worry about
we'll
it.
Be all right. Go on.
Stick it up. No, just stick it up. It's fine.
So we're picking Ramsdale in goal. We're going with a back three here.
This might not be what I would necessarily go for, but
it's what you think will happen.
Yeah, it's what I think might happen. If go on.
I mean, you might want to sort of move them around a little bit, but I understand why and what you've done, right? So you've got Timber, Gabriel, and the returning William Saliba as your three centre halves. You're playing Declan Rice and Zinchenko in your midfield. You've got your sort of your four in front of them as Martinelli, Havertz, Ødegaard and Saka, and Gabriel Jesus up front. So basically, that's the sort of
if it was up to me, Havertz instead of Havertz, it'll be Smith Rowe. But this is again what I think will happen rather than what I want to happen.
The only thing I would say with that, Timber is not a left-sided centre half.
Okay.
So the only way you will be able to work around it,
I'll tinker with that. Don't worry.
Is Gabriel going to the left, Saliba playing as the main centre half, who I probably have on anyway, and then you play Tim on the right. The only way you could probably work around that is if you put Tierney as that left-sided centre half, and then the rest will flow then.
Yeah.
That is what I've talked about on this channel previously, is I do see potentially KT playing in that sort of position. But isn't it nice that we're talking about having a lot of variety in the squad in so many positions? Isn't it nice that we're talking about Arsenal Football Club already having three big money transfers? Let's be fair. Let's be absolutely Has anybody else in Premier League spent that sort of money? I don't think they have, And you might have your differing opinions to me on Havertz, and I get where you're coming from, and we'll go to that in a minute. But isn't it nice that we're talking about having so many options and moving ourselves into a further forward position, a little bit more of a progression in terms of having options, building a squad that might be capable for competing, and hey, let's go all full Declan Rice with it to win trophies, whether it be the league, FA Cup, whatever sort of cup, milk cup, whatever else it might be, egg cup, whatever else we can. You get what I mean, right? So we're talking about all sorts of competitions and all sorts of things, which we definitely need an upgrade in the squad with as well.
Yeah.
So getting business over the line with several weeks. I think it is about 4 or 5 weeks left to go in the transfer window itself, and already we spent over £200 million, gentlemen, on players, and not just players that like with Declan Rice, who is a guy. I had to look twice when I saw he was 24, but he got Premier League at least tested and proven. Kai Havertz, right, who hasn't had the best of times at Chelsea, and I agree with both of you on that front, but he's also gone through adapting to coming to a different league through COVID times where he couldn't get in touch with anybody, and he was very much sort of, how can I say, hung up to dry in quite a poor sort of Chelsea side, I think.
They won the Champions League that season, but that was when Tuchel took over.
You got my next line, Posh.
Oh.
As I knew you would do. You're always stealing my lines.
My gimmick. It's become
exactly,
my gimmick now.
But we know each other so well that we...
You what?
You what? Thanks, mate.
Go
Finish
on.
each other's sandwiches is what I was hoping you would go for. But yeah, we're dealing with the transfer window where Arsenal have already got very busy. It's not just the men's team as well. There's other stuff going on. I'm not sure if both of you gentlemen will be aware. There's other stuff going on with Russo for the ladies' team. I also want to credit Edu and the other one, like my brother did earlier on, by the way, about tying other people's contracts down. The likes of Ramsdale, Saka, and Saliba, and the likes. It's been a very interesting and active last few weeks at the Arsenal Football Club.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've been critical of Edu in the past, but I'm gonna give credit where it's due. Re-signing players like Saka and Saliba is very important because they are our key players. And of course, finally, after what seems like a million years, getting the Declan Rice deal over the line, signing the likes of Timber as well. It's overall, I think it seems good. Havertz, as you mentioned, obviously I keep saying this, I'm an Arsenal fan. He is an Arsenal player, so I do hope he does well and proves me wrong. But I don't rate the signing because he's spent 3 years at Chelsea. He scored in the Champions League final. Yes, that's all well and good, but overall he's not done much. But I hope I'm proven wrong and he does well for us.
I'll throw it to you, Carl.
Yeah, in the same sort of way with Havertz. I think the year of COVID, yeah, okay, I can sort of understand that, and the fact that he did win the Champions League and got the winning goal in the final, that sort of thing, that's really his only claim to fame. In the same way, I've already said to Posh Bertie, Mario Götze scored the winner in the 2014 World Cup final. Where's he been since? It's very, it's easy to say you're living off the one-hit wonder, and that's what Kai Havertz is doing. He's lived off the one-hit wonder. Does it really help him that he was in such an absolute appalling mess at Chelsea last year? No, it didn't surprise me because they've got 10 creative midfielders and they've got no one who can hit the broadside of a barn. So it was you know, it was bad enough. It was bad enough for him. I'm going to say this, okay? You know, there are players that have come and gone from a club, that have gone from one Premier League club to another, who've had terrible experiences, terrible seasons, and they've gone on to the other club and have gone to all of a sudden be on the main stage. I'm going to be a standout player. The two players I'm bringing into question, Kevin De Bruyne, Mohamed Salah, both played for Chelsea, both never finished the season. Mohamed Salah got halfway through a season, then Chelsea binned him. I think Mourinho binned him, if I'm not mistaken. And Kevin De Bruyne played 8 or 9 games, and Mourinho also binned De Bruyne. But they went to Europe to learn more of their trade before City got De Bruyne and Liverpool got Mo Salah. And look where they are now. Salah's one of the best forwards in the game, and you know, Kevin De Bruyne can pick a lock, you know, any time with his eyes closed. He's just that good. The thing is, Havertz has been at Chelsea for 3 years. You would usually start seeing progression from a player probably when after their second season. I saw nothing from him last season. That might be due to Chelsea just being an absolute mess. But at the end of the day, the player has still got to do their job. And Havertz has not done that at Chelsea. This is why I'm very, very skeptical with the signing that we've made. This is why I've said on my channel, I will give him a season. I will give him this season. Now, I'm not going to give you maybe on 200 grand a week, or whatever it is he's on.
I'm definitely not on that money, mate. No.
Not on that sort of money. You know, and you can't stink up the joint like that. You can't. So he's got this season to prove his worth. If he becomes a valuable asset to us, then we'll keep hold of him. But if he has a dire season, like we've seen him at Chelsea over the last few seasons, get rid of him next season. It will be, you know, it's as simple as that. You know, you start learning your players of how good they are. Fabio Vieira, why the hell we still not sold him, I do not know. He looks skinny. I watched the Nuremberg friendly. He looks skinnier now than what he did when we first bought him. That's the alarming part.
Do you really think so? I thought I saw a bit more of him, Matt.
No.
Personally, I'd loan Vieira out this season. I'd loan him.
If they get somebody else in, Posh, I think that's a good shout.
Loan him out to a championship club. Let him get some, you know, let him get some experience about what trench warfare is, because that's what the championship is. It's trench warfare. And, you know, toughen him up. Because he's got the skill. We know he's got skill. We know he's got his technical ability. But he has got as much upper body strength as I have. You know.
And how much is that, brother?
Not much at all.
Fair enough.
You and me both.
Well, maybe Vieira can take his vitamins, say his prayers, and have his Ica Pro, and we'll be all good, right, Posh?
Ico Pro, you gotta want it. But no, I would loan Vieira out, perhaps to a club in Europe, as we did with Balogun and Saliba, and see what he does there, or a championship club. Either way, I think he needs a lot more playing experience, and I don't want him being thrown in the deep end again.
Okay, Posh Bertie, it's that time again, my friend, when you talk about your favourite Bournemouth midfield player. So Bournemouth, Brighton. There you go. I corrected myself. Sorry.
I agree. He would have been a better signing. And as I said on Carl's channel, with not just obviously the money Chelsea got from Mason Mount, but the money we gave them to sell Havertz, we've given them the Caicedo money. And yes, I do think he would be a better signing than Havertz. But at the end of the day, I didn't think we were going to get those two players in the same transfer window. I didn't think we'd get those two. I think that would be very much a best case scenario. But I do think Caicedo would of course be a better signing than Kai Havertz. But like I said, I'll see how he does for Arsenal this season. It'll be interesting to see if we get proven wrong with him.
Caicedo had a fantastic season last year at Brighton. I'm not going to dismiss that. But for the price tag they are asking, I think I'm very happy that we put the money down on Declan Rice and maybe leaving Caicedo out. That's just my feeling. Over one season, we've seen a lot of people have a lot of one really good seasons and then all of a sudden fall off? Just a thought. Gentlemen, go ahead.
Yeah, I think again it's an interesting one. I don't know what to add on that because I didn't think we'd end up getting both Rice and Caicedo. I thought that was a pipe dream, I think. But I'm pleased we've got one of them at the end of the day.
What do you think, Carl, to Fabio Vieira will get bullied in the Championship from Arsenal forever?
That's why I say the Championship is trench warfare. Every time I watch a Championship game, it's 11 on 11 going at each other, and some of the challenges who go in, they do leave a mark on you. But I generally think, we know he's got the technical ability, we know he's got the passing ability, but I just think in the Premier League it is a physical league, and I think the only way you are gonna survive in this league, you somehow got to, not pick a fight with someone. That's not the right saying, but you've got to be very tough when you're going 1-on-1 duels and that sort of thing. You need to be, and if he's got the technical ability, he can do it in the Championship. I think it's just a case of the manager, whoever he goes to, needs to, you need to toughen up. You need to be more stronger on the ball, and I think if he goes there with where the technical creativity in the Championship is not that great. It's not that great, but it does come with some physicality. He can pickpocket those passes, but he will also have to learn how to be strong as well. But Posh Bertie did say send him to Europe, send him to somewhere like the Bundesliga, send him to somewhere like maybe Serie A. They're actually quite, not bullish in a way, but they're quite strong. If you send him back to like the Portuguese league or La Liga, you're not really helping him. You're just basically just getting him out of your hair until he comes back the next season. He needs a proper development in his strength. So either go in Championship, Bundesliga, or go take him to Serie A.
So if we take Arsenal Manic's suggestion here, sending Fabio to rugby league for a season. I mean, do you think he'll be tough enough for that, Pod?
You should go to my local team, Ebbsfleet. You should go there. Although I don't really think I want him at Ebbsfleet, to be honest. Don't really want to see him at Stonebridge Road on a Saturday. Brings back horrible memories of him playing for Arsenal.
Jesus Christ, my local team scrum half would stick Fabio Vieira in the dirt. Literally would stick him in the dirt.
Sorry, Fabio, if you're watching, mate. These are the views, not necessarily of Gooner Gathering, but of the guests involved. Here's one to get your shorts ready for. So I'm going to clip this. Don't you worry, mate. Don't you worry. Kai Havertz from Arsenal Forever will be sent out on loan in January. What do you think, guys?
I don't think I don't think that'll happen. I don't think we've seen a player with that much money going out on loan 6 months later. No matter how, even if he's incredibly bad, I can't see him being gone in January. So
fair enough. No, I don't see a loan happening. That's for sure. Look, if you want,
unless he knows something that we don't, but
I mean, maybe he does. Maybe he's one of them in the know kind of people. We certainly aren't. We know nothing. But we just hang around on YouTube and make silly jokes with each other, so it's all good.
Yeah.
but we wouldn't have it any other way. Arsenal Manic says, I don't see it. £65 million. Then loan to January. Nah, I think you're right. I think he's there to do a job, and whether he's one to. We spoke a little bit about Xhaka playing that little bit further forward in that last campaign, where Arteta got the best out of him. With
a defensive midfielder, Xhaka was never ever defensive midfielder. He was a boxer. This is what bewilders me when he was under Wenger. Putting him in a 4-2-3-1, put him as a defensive midfielder. I'm like, he can't defend. He's not a defensive midfielder. And then when you I think it was at times when it was either in Euros or the World Cup when Xhaka was playing for Switzerland. He was playing as a box-to-box. And I'm like, hang on, he's playing bloody excellent here. Why the hell are you playing as a defensive midfielder? He's been screwed around for the last 6 years, but he's also screwed himself around for the last 6 years. Bar this season, that's just happened. So we finally got the best out of him. Unfortunately, it's too little too late.
Yeah. And I'm kind of feeling that we're sort of taking a player who did, you know, a decent job for a little while and maybe moving a little bit further forward into challenging to the levels that we need to be. Maybe with the likes of Declan Rice, maybe he's the sort of player who can adapt in all sorts of roles. Certainly knowing the league very well as well. We'll certainly put a foot in when it's needed and possibly solidify us when we need to be a bit cautious, but having that ability to move on in midfield a little bit as well. And in concluding with this one with the Xhaka thing, you know, yeah, fair play. He managed to stick it out for a long time, and you know, a lot of us wouldn't have seen that coming after what, you know, that incident. But for him to sort of keep on going, and you know, Arteta was just on the, you know, just got in the door, and he was about ready to go. I mean, Arteta sort of convinced him to stay, and then sort of moved him over to a little bit more of a different role,
of an advanced role. Yeah,
exactly. And you know, fair play to him. He did a fantastic job, and it showed in his stats last season. You know, he never got caught out really in terms of defensively because he wasn't really asked to go that deep. He was often at that box-to-box sort of effort, and he scored plenty of goals as well. And
miraculously, he didn't even get sent off.
Do you know what? I don't even think we had a red card in the whole season, actually.
We didn't have a single red card for the entire season. Unfortunately, the Intertoto Cup doesn't exist anymore, so
it's a shame. Long live the blessed Intertoto Cup, which I also believe West Ham were very competitive in. But you know, they can keep their competitions. You know, that league. We've moved on from Europa League now, so we're moving forward. Yeah, I'm only messing around. I'm going to bring it back to our top story, of course. And if I can find a lovely picture, I'll put it up. Mr. Declan Rice himself will sort of use this just to finish it off, because I think a lot of it's already been covered and stuff. Fun fact about Declan Rice and Eddie Nketiah that's not been spoken about. Have a guess what that might be.
They both play for the under 14s. Apparently, they played in the youth set for a very long time together.
At what club?
You asked them both of us.
Anybody? Buzz in? Arsenal Manic's got it. There you go.
Chelsea. Yeah, Chelsea.
So here's a fun fact. You realise that they both got released from Chelsea Football Club on the exact same day.
Wait, so we've signed another Chelsea cast-off in Declan Rice?
I knew you'd enjoy that, Bosh. Huh? As they both go, oh no, what have we done? But if you all haven't seen the interview on Arsenal's YouTube channel, right, it's very clear that Rice and Nketiah do have a very close relationship, which suggests to me that I don't think Nketiah is going anywhere anytime soon, by the way.
But that was when they were teenagers. That was in the youth setup at Chelsea. You know,
it was.
They haven't played together since I can't remember what was it. What was it now? 19. So they were 19, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, no, I think they would have been youth level. So I just thought it was a fun
youth level, and the professional level are two different things.
Yeah. And I kind of used that just as a little bit of fun to bring me on to the final sort of subject, which you kind of brought up on your your channel, Carl, which was the striker situation that, you know, a lot of us will be thinking, okay, we got all this business gone. Are we going to get another top line striker? And I'd like us to talk about Ivan Toney. I'd like you to sort of bring up what you said on your channel, and we'll sort of discuss around that, because I've said on here previously how much I do rate Ivan Toney as a player. I've also said, and I said in your chat earlier on, as much as I do rate him, I have alarm bells when it comes to putting him in our side. So go ahead and take the floor, my friend.
Right. So basically, when I brought up the striker situation, you know, we have got really of one of two options. We know Florian Balogun is now going to be the main striker for the United States of America. That's good. That is all confirmed now. So he wants first team football. He wants starting games. Okay. So if he's not going to get at Arsenal, then Arsenal do have to sell him. But I'd only sell him for between 40 and 50 million. Stick a buyback clause in there, because if he catches fire at his next club, we want him back over the next season, regardless if Jesus bangs in 20 goals next season or not. With Eddie Nketiah, I've seen enough of him to establish he is not the striker we need at Arsenal. I don't think he is good enough to start for Arsenal. As a squad player, possibly, but every time he comes off the bench, it doesn't seem like that he actually doesn't really do too much in my own eyes. If you're selling Nketiah, you're only going to get like 20, maybe 25 million for him, if that. Yeah. Okay. So this is why I brought up Ivan Toney. Now, okay, I know that he has got a misdemeanor on him. Okay. He's got betting offences on him. Okay. It's been publicized in the paper. It's all over media. You know, it's a story. Okay. We know and understand that. At the end of the day, the question I asked was this: what has that got to do with his performances on the football pitch? And the answer is none. The answer is none. You don't, yes, okay, you buy a player that has got some character issues. I've seen teams in sports that have bought players that have got character issues, but they are flat out ballers. And Ivan Toney is a flat out baller. Now, if he does sign for a new club in January, because he could be sold by Brentford, he can't play until January because of his ban. However, he is allowed on the facilities at that club. He's allowed to train with the squad. The only thing he can't do is play actual football matches. He is not. He's allowed to train. He's allowed to condition. He's allowed to practice, but he's not allowed to play in first team games. That is his rules and regulations that he has got. So in my own personal perspective, you know, he cuts the betting out, which I'm sure he will do now anyway, because obviously you just lost 6 months of your season as a footballer. You're 20. I can't remember how Ivan Toney was. You now 26, 27, something along those lines, possibly.
Yeah, I would have thought so, because he sort of came onto the scene at Newcastle, didn't he, for a little bit? I think so. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right around about that sort of range.
Yeah. So from my personal perspective, look,
interesting.
Look, if we were to say we sell, there's a situation I actually drum up in my head after I finished my stream, and that was if we sold Florian Balogun for 40 million, and then you had the likes of Cedric, you sell, Holding, you sell, Sammy Lokonga, you sell.
That's at least £5 anyway, isn't it? So
it's at least 15, 20 million you get out of that. You will then have the money then to go out and get an actual proper prolific striker. I know, and one of them is Ivan Toney. There's only 3 strikers that actually produced really well when they were scoring. Harry Kane, obviously, Erling Haaland, obviously, and the other one was Ivan Toney, and possibly Marcus Rashford. But obviously, Rashford's not going anywhere anytime soon.
Ivan Toney, contract, I believe.
And Ivan Toney's playing for I'm not saying little club, but he's playing for Brentford. If a big club like us, like City, like Chelsea, like Man United, they come knocking on the door of Brentford and give them 50 million. They know for a fact they're going to sell him immediately. There you go. You can deal with this headache now. But I don't think you take out all his character issues aside of what he's done in the past, and you just watch him primarily as a striker on the football pitch playing for Brentford. He is one of the most lethal goal scorers in the Premier League. This is why I say if you sold Balogun and you sold others, get Tony in and make Nketiah fight for that contract. Because you're playing down to 100,000 a week, and you have committed the most cardinal sin ever. You've got the king's number on your back.
I find that very interesting. People are still talking about that, and look, I love your passion on that, Carl. I really do, I do bring it up just for a little bit of devil's advocate, a little bit as well. I've brought up on this channel, and I will stick by it. In terms of seeing Ivan Toney on the field, my broadcast partner will back me up on this. I'm sure you will. That I have compared him because he reminds me of that lethal finisher we had back in the day of Ian Wright. He reminds me so much of his playing style. And if it was truly down to just that, do you know what? If all this other business wasn't going on, I'd probably be saying with you. I'd probably be agreeing with you. But as let me just look back on the chat, and it was Arsenal Manic saying he bet on his own club to lose games on 13 occasions. I can't get past that. And there may be a scenario here where we're dealing with wider issues here, and that's happened a lot in the game over the last couple of days in terms of other scenarios and other players. And I would imagine Tony would be seeking help for that sort of situation as well. And if it was purely down to just football business, I'd be taking him probably at a heartbeat, honestly. But do you know what? Just to shake it up a little bit, do you know what I think would be really fun? It's got to be Kane, Posh, isn't it? Let's go and put a bit in for
all the comment that Arsenal Manic put up there. Did you know what? Ring up Tottenham. Here's 120 million. Test the waters. Test the waters. And we'll see.
If he ends up leaving for free next season.
Well, this is the thing. This is the thing with Kane, okay? Because obviously he's only got, I'll get the terms of the contract right now. He's got like 50 weeks left of his contract.
Oh, you've gone to weeks. I love it, mate.
Yeah,
brilliant
50
work.
weeks. We're not into his year now. Into 50. We're down to weeks. And basically, Tottenham are bent over a barrel here. They have to either sign into another ludicrous contract, but it's going to make Kane out to be a serial loser because he's going to stay there and not win anything. Or, Kane is just going to dig his heels in and say, no, I'm not signing a contract, so you better sell me, or I'm just going to stay put and run it down. If he runs it down and leaves elsewhere, that is the worst thing. That's the end of Tottenham Hotspur. That is the end of Tottenham.
The worst thing since Phil Campbell left
and he's on a free. It doesn't matter which club he goes to. It'll just be, but it would be more like a kick in the balls than a kick in the mouth if he goes to Arsenal. That's the only best adjective I can actually come across. But test the water. Test the water on Tottenham. Let's see if they've actually got the balls to actually turn around and turn us down for 120 million for Harry Kane. I know that they will. I think they would turn us down because it is Arsenal. It is Arsenal. But we don't know how. But we know how much of a snake Daniel Levy is, and we know how. It will go national. It will go national. It really would. If Kane came to Arsenal, but do you know what? I don't see it happening. I think he's going to sign another contract at Tottenham and just like, it's going to be one of those things. But look, would I want Kane at Arsenal as a goal scorer? Absolutely. Yeah. Are we going to get him? Nah.
Fair enough. I do want to welcome. Don't waste the tweet into the chat. I've never shouted you out before. Thank you for joining us and welcome. I'll throw it to Posh. What are your thoughts on me bringing out the Kane line? Do you fancy Harry?
Do you know what? I know it's not going to happen in a million years, but again, just for him to do a Sol Campbell and go to the other side, you know how much I'd love that. But I don't think it's going to happen, sadly. But with Harry Kane, I mean, if I was the owner of Tottenham, well, one, I'd liquidate the club, but the other, if I would cash in. I would.
Well, a money in the bank.
No. Well, I would get clubs to pay the money for Harry Kane, rather than letting their best player go out on a free. That would just be ridiculous.
Arsenal forever. Harry Kane wants to stay in the Premier League so he can beat Alan Shearer's all-time Premier League goals scoring record. Yeah, get that.
Well, at least Alan Shearer won the Premier League.
He did. Blackburn Rovers. Fantastic.
Although I do think that Alan Shearer did regret not going to Man United when he got given the chance to.
And maybe Harry Kane might be in the same situation. Who knows? I am just causing mischief here, aren't I? I'm causing YouTube havoc here. I know I am. How about Arsenal Manic saying how much does Napoli want for? Oh, it's disappeared off my screen. For Osimhen. I've heard the name's been brought up in a lot of conversations.
Very good striker, but I think it's too much. I think it's too much for him. And also as well, the Osimhen talk has actually I've noticed over the last 3 weeks or so, the Osimhen talk has really died down now.
I know.
Nothing from Fabrizio, nothing from Pornstein, nothing from anything like any of them. Any of the main. And you heard what I said. It has trickled down now. 130 million. Arsenal Ferrer put 130 million.
Can you just check out Arsenal's Twitter, please, Posh? Just check out what they just dropped, please. It just said taking it all in. But
what? Is it a video of Rice meeting the dog?
I bet it is.
Oh Jesus!
I bet it is. As you're looking for that, I will throw another comment in and saying the problem is that established world-class strikers are at a shortage. Yes, absolutely agree with this. Clubs don't want to see clubs don't want to see and asking prices will be over £100 million. You guys know any reasonably priced World Cup striker at the moment? I think reasonably priced in any transfer market at the moment, it's completely out the window.
I think he means world class, not World Cup.
World class, yeah, absolutely. Sorry, thank you.
It's very hard to say. Who do you look as world class? Kylian Mbappe, Vinicius Jr.
Yeah, but he's not reasonably priced though, isn't he?
Well, not. That's the thing. We're in a day and age now where it's like if you want a striker, it's 100 million plus. This is why I say you want someone who can still bang in the goals, but is still at a relatively good price. Yes, that's why I'm going back to Ivan Toney again, because he is reasonably priced and he can put the ball in the back of the net for fun.
Especially with a nice kick about with the boys.
Harry Kane is a world-class striker. I will give him that. I would say Karim Benzema as well, world-class striker.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
he is right. There is a shortage. There's a shortage of world-class strikers because it's all basically around the creative side of the 10 and how the wingers go about it now. Football's changed. The main number 9 striker now that you solely rely on for goals, that doesn't really exist anymore unless it's very fair few.
So this is what I love about this channel, right? I mean, what I really want to emphasize anyone who's watching, everyone who comes on our platform, whether it be here on our live stream, on our chat and whatever, everyone absolutely will have their different opinions, and I find that quite cool. Makes for a lively discussion, right? Arsenal Manic says, get Tony, but it needs to show us the bank statement at the end of the month. I do think
put
that's
it in the
quite
contract, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Arsenal forever. Talking about Neymar, if he leaves PSG, Chelsea will be very interested in signing him. Yeah, well, they do like throwing their money around, don't they? And
we've been doing that recently, haven't we? So
why would they do? Why would they do that? They're just going to get another Aubameyang situation.
Again, that's another one to be probably talked about. We could do about that now, if you like, gentlemen, because it seems like it is a bit of a fire sale going on at Stamford Bridge at the moment. And do you see the likes of Aubameyang leaving? Do you see anybody else leaving there? If you're talking about other clubs selling players as well, it was brought to my attention, and I really thought about this over the last couple of hours at the end of my shift today, that West Ham would have sold a massive player, big player in one of the strikers. Sorry, it's gone out of my mind. Never mind. It doesn't matter. But they've just sold a big player in Declan Rice. Do you think that they would be in a position where they will be wanting to reinvest that money? Either West Ham, Chelsea, that sort of club selling these big players, are they in a position to reinvest them, or are they trying to recoup, get themselves in a better financial fair play position?
I don't know. I think West Ham were looking to bolster their midfield, of course, after the selling of Declan Rice, but I don't know who they're linked with mostly. I don't really keep up to date with that.
Someone called Casado, I think.
Oh, but no, I'm not talking about West Ham. I'm talking about I'm not talking about Chelsea. I was talking about West Ham there when it comes to selling Declan Rice.
I think
Chelsea,
Paulinho from Fulham. I think they were eyeing up prior to the sale of Rice. I think that was one of the players. They were also looking at James Ward-Prowse, I believe, from Southampton, if I'm not mistaken. But that
good player there.
But I heard a rumor.
I can't see him playing in the Championship.
Well, guess what? We're in the 6th of August. We're near towards the 6th of August. We've got 3 weeks and the Championship restarts. So you know what? It wouldn't surprise me. It's gutting because I think Prowse, despite the fact all he is really is a set piece merchant, he is the best set piece merchant that England football actually do have. So but at the end of the day, that's West Ham's problem to do with now. They sold their biggest asset. They've now got to try and recoup that from somewhere. They probably will end up taking a step back, despite the fact they will be in the Europa League, because obviously winning the conference league, you now get promoted up to the Europa League. So they've got that to look forward to, but they'll be playing on a Thursday and then on a Sunday. That's going to be detrimental to their season.
We found it hard enough ourselves, didn't we?
We've been doing it for 7 years. Of course it is.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the very reason I don't think Arsenal went full throttle in it, to be honest. But that's probably for another stream for another day, because I do see we sort of got over the hour mark here. I'll talk about the last comment here about hope Arsenal don't re-sign Sanchez, for example. It's a name I haven't spoken about in a long time. Alexis Sanchez, I heard a rumour about him asking to return. I also heard that same rumour that Arteta has shot it down.
Yeah, that was a few weeks ago. I heard that. I don't think there's anything to that. I liked Sanchez when he was at Arsenal, but obviously he did all right in the French league last season. But at the age of 33, 34, in the tail end of his career, I don't. Would he be able to keep up with the pace the Premier League has? I'm not sure. I don't think they were in his plan. He was in Arsenal's plans anyway at the moment. I don't know, but when he played for us, he was very good. He was one of my favourite players.
He could have been an absolute legend for this football club, and instead he chose money and greed. He made his bed.
Look where it's got him.
And look where it's got him. He made his bed, and now he can lie. He had a good. The team was still building a sort of way, because we're still trying to get there. But you could see what Sanchez brought to the table. Him linking up with the likes of Aaron Ramsey, with the likes of Mesut Ozil. You know, you saw what he brought. I was just stunned and loved what I saw of Alexis Sanchez. He was just phenomenal. But the minute he went to Man United, I like, yes, you've gone there to win titles. I think when did he leave? What was it? It was after the Ferguson. Was it after the Ferguson era?
Would have had to be, wasn't it? Because Van Persie had his last season.
Yeah, so it would have been 2015, maybe, something along those lines.
Yeah.
He ended up going to Man United basically to try and win again, but we knew they were on the downswing. He went there for that huge contract. He got that huge contract, and now him and his family and his second family are now sewn up for life. But you've killed your career by doing that as well. Whereas if he stayed at Arsenal, who knows? Who knows what could have happened with Alexis Sanchez? Yeah. Who knows?
I'll add to this one that Sanchez, although we obviously will divide opinion amongst the fan base because of the way he left and everything, but he did, for the times he did play for us on the field, he did a great job taking all the politics away from everything and forgetting all the Man United stuff. He did a fantastic job. You're absolutely right, and he scored an absolute belter of a goal against Aston Villa in that FA Cup final all them years ago. So at least there's them nice memories to think about. In an effort just to sort of, because I'm very aware that I'm keeping you both away for quite a while now. I will just sort of go through the last few comments and then we'll sign out if you like, gentlemen. So Arsenal Manic saying would have liked to see Matt Letizia playing with us at one time. Yeah, maybe we'll do a look back on players that maybe could have come to Arsenal and maybe didn't, and perhaps we'll have a little bit of fun with that another time. And Sanchez was the last world-class player. Oh, interesting.
He's spot on. He's spot on. Sanchez was mustard.
He was a super player. I absolutely no arguments on this front. Last world. Interesting. Maybe we'll maybe talk about that another time because I do want to wrap up.
We've got players like Saka that can be world class and are really on the edge of that, but they've got more time to develop.
But you become that sort of under that bracket, I think, when you pick up more titles and trophies, right? Yeah. Would you agree with me on that?
Hopefully, will happen soon. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. So Arsenal manager says, yeah, Sanchez was brilliant for us, but past it now wouldn't take him back. The way it panned out as well was sad. Yeah, no, I agree. And he also says, take care, lads, and goodbye. Do you know what? This is absolutely flown by, and I'm pretty sure we could carry on talking forever and ever. But I'm very aware that I've got my little girl on my right hand side, and we've been on there for nearly an hour and 10 minutes. So, Carl, I'll throw to you first and foremost, as you are a brand new guest and having your Gooner Gathering debut for us today, my friend. It's the second debut of the day. Fantastic. Carl, would you like to please shout out your channel again, please?
Yeah, sure. So my YouTube channel is called Gun Down, basically all to do with Arsenal football, with all the stuff that they get on with. You know me as KB from KB Sports. That's now completely changed. You'll find me on Twitter at Gundown UK. You'll find me on Instagram, Gundown UK. You'll find me on Twitch as well. We will also have, from the start of August, me and my co-host, Mr. Jack McFadden, we will also be doing a weekly podcast talking about news, previews coming off the games and so on, and a review of a match as well further on down the line. So we've got a lot coming up on this channel. We are still going to be doing watch-alongs. Obviously, I will be doing some of them as well. But when I have my boy, Jack will be on hand to do that as well. So he will be on hand. So, yeah, it's a brand new beginning, brand new start. And, yeah, if you don't like it, fuck off down the lane. It's as simple as.
Well, you dropped an F-bomb right on the end of me, mate. And I'm really appreciating that. Just sort of going off camera for a second because I'm just reading a little bit of breaking news. So it appears Mike Dean is stepping down from his role as looking after all the referees, etc. Just sort of obviously let's Here we go. We spoke about Ivan Toney a little while ago. Let's refer back to just him, just for very, very briefly before we go. The situation, obviously, with the VAR and everything was very, very difficult to work out and such. Mike Dean stepping away, someone else will come in to fill that role, looking after all the referees and all the sort of VAR and stuff like that. Perhaps that might be good because that might move the game a little bit further forward. I think that's all I want to say on that. But it'd be remiss of me not to report on breaking news when it's right in front of my nose. Posh Bertie, would you like to tell everybody where they can follow you on Twitter?
Yes, you can follow me on Twitter at Posh Bertie, and my Instagram is at Bertie Wanless, and you can also find me on this here channel here.
Thank you very much, my friend. You can find me on Twitter at Goonerly Mead. You can find everybody on Gooner Gathering at Gooner Gathering on Twitter. Make sure you look at our TikTok channel as well, which is also a lot of fun and we love doing. Until we reappear on another day, ladies and gentlemen, take care of yourselves and we'll see you all very soon.